Have you ever caught yourself thinking, maybe someone will help me, maybe someone will show up and fix this? That quiet little hope that someone, somewhere will step in and take the weight off your shoulders. It sounds comforting, doesn't it? But what if that thought is the very reason you're stuck tired and questioning your own strength? What if the truth that no one is coming is not the end of the story, but the very beginning? Keep watching until the end, because once you understand what truly begins, when no one shows up to save you, your entire mindset will shift, and with it, your entire life. Let's be honest. We've all been conditioned to wait. From the moment we're born, we're told help is always nearby. As kids, someone feeds us, dresses us, cleans up after us. When things go wrong, someone fixes them. We grow up believing that if we cry loud enough, complain hard enough, or simply wait long enough, help will come. We carry that mindset into adulthood, but life doesn't work like that. Not anymore. The moment you step into the real world, the hands that once held you disappear. The silence gets louder. The waiting gets longer. And somewhere deep inside, fear begins to grow. Fear that you're alone. Fear that you're not ready. So what do? You wait. You hope. You look around for someone stronger, smarter, more capable, someone to solve it, to carry the burden, to rescue you. But here's what human psychology teaches us: the longer we wait for external rescue, the weaker our internal drive becomes. It's called learned helplessness. You begin to tell yourself, maybe I can't do this on my own. And when that thought takes root, it spreads like wildfire. You stop trying. You stop believing. You sit in the dark and call it fate. But what if I told you that you've been lied to? That the people who win in life, the ones who rise above the chaos, aren't waiting for anyone. They already accepted the hard truth. No one is coming. No one owes you a thing. And the moment they swallowed that reality, something changed. See, the real reason most people don't take action isn't because they're lazy. It's because they're secretly hoping for an easier path to magically appear. But it won't. And deep down, you already know that. You're not here because life is perfect. You're here because you're tired of waiting. You're here because something inside you knows it's time to wake up, to stand up. So here's the truth: the longer you keep your eyes on the door, waiting for someone to walk through it and save you, the longer your life stays paused. But the second you accept that no one's coming, everything changes. That's where it begins. Not with someone pulling you out, but with you deciding to rise. And when you choose to rise, when you stop waiting and start moving, you don't just change your situation. You begin to change who you are. The rescue isn't coming from out there. It's already inside you. And if you stick with this message till the end, you'll see just how powerful that realization can become. Because this is where everything begins. Let's go. There comes a moment when the silence becomes too loud to ignore. You sit with yourself and everything feels heavier than it should. The weight of waiting, the frustration of hoping, the exhaustion of feeling stuck in a life that doesn't seem to move forward. That's the breaking point. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up with flashing signs. It creeps in quietly through tired eyes and sleepless nights, through fake smiles and forced strength. It's when your soul whispers the truth you've been avoiding: no one is coming. And that moment hurts. It shakes you because you realize the story you've been telling yourself, that maybe someone will understand, maybe someone will fix it, isn't real. You look around and see nothing but your own reflection staring back. And the panic sets in. That's the fear of responsibility. Because if no one is coming, it means it's all on you. That truth can crush you or it can build you. It depends on what you do next. Psychology calls this the threshold of transformation. It's where the old belief system begins to crack, where you begin to detach from dependence, where your identity starts shifting from victim to creator. It's an uncomfortable space, because letting go of hope in others means you now have to believe in yourself. And for most people, that's scarier than anything else. But let me tell you something powerful: hitting rock bottom isn't failure. It's freedom. Because when you have nothing left to lose, that's when you stop pretending. That's when you stop lying to yourself. That's when you start being real. That's when change becomes possible. Every person who has ever done something extraordinary has stood exactly where you are: broken, scared, alone. And in that moment, they made a choice to stop begging life to be easier and start becoming stronger. That's when you move from surviving to building. That's when the fight begins, not against the world, but for yourself. You stop looking at your situation as punishment and start seeing it as permission. Permission to start again. Permission to rewrite your own story. You're no longer waiting for an invitation. You're creating your own entrance. You realize that if you want your life to mean something, you can't outsource the responsibility. You must own every scar, every setback, every second. And when you do, something awakens inside you. That voice, the one you buried beneath fear and excuses, starts to rise. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's a whisper at first, but it's steady. And it says, get up. Not because someone told you to. Not because someone's watching. but because you're ready. This is the part where most people quit. They reach the edge of truth and turn back because it's uncomfortable. But the ones who break through, they don't see discomfort as danger. They see it as direction. When the world goes quiet and you're left with nothing but yourself, that's not the end. That's the start of self-discovery, of personal power, of unshakable growth. And once you cross that line, once you stop needing and start becoming, there's no going back. You've tasted something too real to unsee. You've touched the strength that was always there. And from that moment forward, everything about you changes because you're no longer afraid of the dark. You've already walked through it and found yourself on the other side. When you've crossed the threshold, when you've accepted the silence and stood face to face with your own fears, you begin to understand something profound. Your greatest power has never been out there. It's been in you all along. You were just too distracted, too conditioned, too afraid to look within. But now the mask is off, the comfort is gone. And what remains is the one thing that can never be taken from you, self-reliance. It's not about doing everything alone. It's about realizing that you are capable of far more than you've been told. The human brain is wired for growth. Neuroscience shows that when you begin to take control, when you act even in small steps, the brain rewards you. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn through action. Every decision you make without waiting on someone else strengthens your neural circuits of resilience, self-belief, and discipline. It starts simple. Waking up earlier, saying no to what drains you, choosing what fuels your mind, setting boundaries that protect your peace. These aren't just habits, these are declarations. Messages to your subconscious mind that say, I've got me. I don't need someone to tell me I'm worthy. I decide that. I don't need someone to push me. I move because I choose to. And in that shift, you go from reacting to life to leading it. Most people don't realize how powerful that transition is. When you stop outsourcing responsibility, you take back control, not of everything, but of the most important thing, yourself, your response, your attitude, your next move. That's where the real game is played. Life doesn't hand you freedom. It waits to see if you're bold enough to claim it. And self-reliance is the first move on that board. It won't be easy. Your old mind will fight you. It will whisper lies. You can't do this alone. What if you fail? What if it's too much? But that's not your truth. That's your fear talking. And the only way to quiet fear is to prove it wrong. Step by step, day by day. You don't overcome doubt by thinking your way through it. You overcome it by acting in spite of it. You show up anyway. You rise anyway. You move forward anyway. Because here's the truth, no one can give you strength. It doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from applause. It comes from facing hard things and doing them anyway. That's where self-respect is born. That's where identity is built. And once you know what you're capable of, you become dangerous, not to others, but to every excuse that once held you back. This is how you start to build a life that feels real. One choice at a time. One action at a time. Not needing validation. Not chasing approval. Just owning your path. The mind rewires, the body aligns, the energy shifts. You begin to walk with a different kind of strength. Not loud, not desperate, but calm and unshakable. And that's when people begin to notice. Not because you asked them to, but because you've become undeniable. You've stepped into your own power. And now, you're no longer the person waiting. You're the one moving. And nothing is more powerful than a person who has decided to trust themselves again. Once you begin to trust yourself, everything changes, but not in a loud, dramatic way. The world doesn't suddenly applaud you. There's no grand celebration, no instant reward. In fact, most of it happens in silence. And that's exactly where your power grows. When you start building from within, you're choosing the path that most avoid. Because it's hard, it's lonely, and it requires a level of honesty that few are willing to face. But the ones who do, they become unshakable. You don't become strong by lifting heavy things. You become strong by doing what's hard when no one is watching. That's the truth most people never hear. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what builds the foundation. And discipline doesn't feel exciting. It's repetitive. It's boring. It's you showing up when everything in you says rest. It's you choosing growth over comfort, action over excuses, purpose over pleasure. This is the psychology of real change. Your brain doesn't transform through inspiration alone. It changes through repetition. Every time you follow through, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, you send a message to your nervous system, I can trust myself. I don't quit. I don't need comfort to show up. I am becoming. And the beauty is, results don't come instantly, but they come quietly. You start to feel different. You carry yourself differently. Your mind clears. Your energy sharpens. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and breakthroughs not because you begged for them, because you became someone ready for them. But make no mistake, there will be resistance. Old habits will try to pull you back. Doubt will creep in. Your environment might not understand you. People might question you. But that's how you know you're changing. Growth will always trigger resistance. Your only job is to keep going. Keep building. from the inside out. You don't need a crowd. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need everything figured out. What you need is consistency. Show up for yourself when it's dark. Show up when it's quiet. Show up when you're tired, uncertain, or afraid. That's how foundations are built. And once the foundation is strong, nothing can shake what you've created. Every champion, every leader, every unstoppable person you admire, none of them were built in comfort. They were built in silence. They were built during early mornings and late nights, behind closed doors, far from recognition. And now, that gets to be your story too. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're being refined. You're learning how to carry yourself when no one else shows up. This is where internal motivation is born, not from praise, not from approval, but from presence, from the quiet decision to keep showing up. Because once you start becoming the person who does what they say, your life begins to shift slowly, silently, powerfully. You no longer wait for the world to see you. You become someone the world can't ignore. Not because you shouted louder, but because you stood taller. You built something real, something rooted. And that kind of growth, that can't be faked. That can't be rushed. That's earned. You don't need to keep looking outside yourself anymore. Not for direction, not for strength, not for permission. Because by now you've realized something unshakable. You are the answer. You are the rescue plan. You are the hero you've been waiting for. Everything you thought you needed from others, you already have inside of you. And the moment you accept that, you unlock a power that can't be broken. This is what the journey was always about. Not becoming someone else, but uncovering who you truly are beneath the fear, beneath the noise, beneath the lies you've been told about your worth. It's always been there. Your courage, your voice, your fight. You just had to stop waiting for someone else to see it before you believed in it yourself. Human psychology teaches us that identity is shaped not by what happens to us, but by what we decide in response to what happens. Every choice you've made on this journey, every time you showed up when it was hard, every time you pushed forward in silence, every time you trusted your path, even when it didn't make sense, those moments rewrote your identity. They shifted you from powerless to powerful, from waiting to creating, from lost to leader. And now, you've stepped into a new version of yourself, one that doesn't ask for direction, because you've created your own. One that doesn't beg to be saved, because you've learned to rise. One that doesn't depend on the world to be fair, because you've stopped depending on the world at all. You've taken your power back. You've proven to yourself that you can carry your weight, that you can walk through fire and come out forged, not broken. People will notice. They'll feel your energy before you even speak. They'll wonder how you became so grounded, so calm, so focused. And they won't understand that what they're seeing is the result of everything you did when no one was watching. The nights you didn't quit, the mornings you rose anyway, the promises you kept to yourself. That's the difference between those who talk about change and those who become change. But let this be clear, this is not the end of your journey, it's the beginning of a new one. A life built on self-respect, not approval. A path driven by purpose, not fear. From this point on, you'll face new challenges, but you'll face them with a new spirit. A knowing that no matter what comes your way, you've got you. And that's enough. So remember this, no one is coming. But that's not something to fear. That's the greatest gift you'll ever receive. Because in that truth, you discovered your strength. You stopped waiting. You started building. And now you're walking forward, not with doubt, not with desperation, but with certainty. The world may not always cheer for you. The road won't always be smooth. But you will keep moving. Because the life you want, the peace you crave, the greatness you dream of, it's not in someone else's hands. It's been in yours the whole time. And now you finally believe it.